Welcome to the Titan tier list. From Godzilla and King Ghidorah to Amhuluk and Quetzalcoatl, the scientific organization Monarch has done an excellent job of studying these elusive creatures. Ancient remnants of a past ecosystem, when the Earth was flooded with extreme levels of radiation. As radiation levels declined, most Titans retreated underground and entered states of dormancy. Until now. This list is based on a combination of factors, including physical attributes, durability, and overall dominance. Basically, it's where I believe the creature's ecological niche would be, relative to the other Titans. Looking for something specific? Don't worry, we got timestamps. You can check them in the description below. Now let's go. Starting in D tier. Because let's be honest, an F tier Titan makes no sense. If you disagree with me, chill, pop an oxymoron. So here we got Scylla, aka Titanus Scylla. It's a giant armored cephalopod, which is the same family as octopus, squid, and cuttlefish, and this is evidenced via its squid-shaped body. It's brown in color, with 6 very long, bony legs, lightly covered in hair, which looks similar to that of spider limbs. Each leg has 2 joints with small spikes, and ends with a small claw. It has a plated mantle, which serves as protective armor, with 10 tendrils hanging from its face, more on that later, and a pair of orange eyes. It's agile, and can quickly change direction or maneuver sideways to avoid attacks. Unlike most other Titans, Scylla is a scavenger, and has a biological imperative to feed on the carcasses of dead Titans. It processes the nutrients from these Titans into a deadly bacteria, which poisons nearby water sources. A special ability of Scylla is that, in dire circumstances, it's able to abandon its shell and burrow into nearby rock surfaces. If there are no suitable rocks around, it may even use pieces of sunken battleships nearby as a replacement to its exoskeleton armor. It will eventually grow a new shell. This is similar to hermit crabs, who have the ability to lose their current shell, but will need to eventually find a new one in order to stay safe and protected. The tentacles that hang down from its face are actually used similar to an octopus or squid, whereby it uses those tendrils to pull food closer to its mouth, where it can consume. And while these attributes altogether may sound intriguing, compared to the rest of these creatures on this list, there's nothing that makes Scylla really stand out as a formidable foe, hence leaving it on D tier. Also in D tier, we have the Ion Dragon. True to its name, it's a quadrupedal wyvern with fish-like features and aquatic abilities, as evidenced by it taking down a ship and dragging the said ship thousands of miles through the ocean. Its wide, fish-like head has 2 horns similar to a bull placed behind reptilian eyes. And the dragon has 2 hooked appendages facing downwards on its top lip, right beside sharp, pointed teeth. Its body is covered in shiny black scales, and it also has gills along the side of its neck. These gills are likely a key facet in allowing it to travel aquatic distances. When combined with its 2 dark red wings, it's clear to see that this creature draws inspiration from flying fish. I didn't just make up an animal. There are real fish which can fly. And by that, I mean glide significant distances over the water. It's really cool to look at, actually. I'll drop a picture. But yeah, you can clearly see that this Ion Dragon has definitely taken inspiration from flying fish. A little bit of fish, a little bit of bat. There's a joke in there somewhere. Its 4 limbs end with 4-digit hands, adorned with claws, and its overall body shape is long and skinny, the hind limbs being much shorter than the winged forelimbs. The end of its tail is covered by forward-facing needle-like spines, culminating in a 4-pronged, pincer-like claw. It's been known to store its victims in a goo-like substance, which is believed to help with preserving flesh and preventing decay so that the Ion Dragon can eat its food later. This storage technique is useful, but overall the Titan itself is dwarfed in comparison to its counterparts. Hence why, despite being named a dragon, it's still stuck on D tier. Moving up a tier brings us to Camazotz, aka Titanus Camazotz. It resembles a giant, demon-like bat with rough brown skin and fur on its chest and back. It has a small head relative to the rest of its body, with jagged horns and sharp teeth. It has large shredded wings, which, alongside its tail, are adorned with razor-sharp, bone-like protrusions. These wings are capable of sustained flight, fast enough to keep pace with and destroy fighter jets. Camazotz seeks out the atomic-rich blood of other titans to feed on, and in order to help it hunt, it's capable of emitting supersonic screams to disorient other titans. If that wasn't enough, it also controls a swarm of giant bat-like creatures. Camazotz's sharp claws allow it to grab and lift smaller creatures into the air, where it proceeds to drop them to their death. However, it's important to note that this titan has been rendered blind due to extended periods of living in darkness, and so to compensate, has developed a strong sense of echolocation. This is the same ability bats use to navigate and hunt, and is very similar to how whales and dolphins use sonar underwater. However, despite these abilities of echolocation, Camazotz is extremely vulnerable to loud sonic frequencies, which just so happens to be a predominant feature among many other titans. On top of that, similar to a vampire, Camazotz cannot be active whenever the sun is visible. These aspects severely limit its overall potential, and that's why it's here as a C-tier staple. Next up, we have Quetzalcoatl, aka Titanus Quetzalcoatl. It's a giant feathered serpent, capable of flight, with plumage similar to that of a bird. It has two brightly colored massive wings on each side of its body, allowing it to be airborne for sustained periods of time. Adult Quetzalcoatl are capable of emitting a deadly stream of fire from their mouths, and this expelled flame is surrounded by a field of green static. This green static may indicate the presence of copper being used as part of the creature's internal combustion process. It has a molecular composition similar to silicon, and this allows the creature to withstand extreme temperatures up to 2000 degrees Fahrenheit, the same temperature as lava. Quetzalcoatl lay up to 3 eggs at a time, and hatchlings are born already capable of running at high speeds. This titan was likely named after the ancient Aztec deity, the patron god of priesthood. And while this is an extremely unique, fascinating creature design, I'm still placing it on C tier. I just don't think it has enough attributes to compete with the higher tiered titans. Behemoth, aka Titanus Behemoth, was a large, woolly mammoth-like creature with large tusks on its lower jaw. It uses these large tusks to destroy structures in its path, similar to how elephants behave on the African savanna. Elephants often knock over small trees and shrubs, and in doing so, they're able to reshape the landscape, providing protections against wildfires and creating a multitude of habitats for smaller organisms to live in. In fact, you may have heard recent stories about organizations striving to bring certain species back from extinction, including the woolly mammoth. Part of their reason for doing so is not only to have a really cool animal back, but also woolly mammoths would actually allow us to better combat climate change. And the reason they would be able to do so is because just like elephants, they knock over the small trees and shrubs that grow in the tundra and Arctic regions. By removing this vegetation, the ground itself is able to stay cooler, and as a result, the overall temperature of the Earth could in fact be kept colder by up to 2 degrees Celsius. This is a big deal when it comes to climate change, and I personally think it's really cool that we can use actual species that existed on this planet to help restore the planet to a more ideal condition. Behemoth also walks like a gorilla on its knuckles, using long muscular forearms that are larger than its hind legs. This design, similar to gorillas, allows for adept maneuverability as well as a sturdy base and extremely muscular limbs. In addition, it's covered in light brown fur, and appears to have green vines or algae growing on its otherwise gray tusks. This is likely due to extended periods of dormancy, where, as this creature hibernated over centuries, the plant matter nearby began covering its tusks, similar to how it would work with rocks or any other non-moving material. Its sloth-like claws can be used for grabbing, holding, and also potentially attacking, similar to Therizinosaurus, which, if you recall, was the herbivore dinosaur from the latest Jurassic World movie. This creature was a herbivore, but still used its claws to attack its opponents, and I believe Behemoth likely possesses the same ability. Its elephant-like feet would indicate that this creature has strong levels of balance and sturdiness, and two unique abilities of Behemoth are that the radiation stored within its body can actually restore the jungles as it passes through, and its feces could also be used as a highly effective fertilizer. Drop this on a farm and Old MacDonald is popping off. Overall, I find this to be a very solid mid-tier Titan. Nothing too crazy, but no overall weaknesses that stand out. The Frost VARK is another new addition who unfortunately doesn't make it very far up this tier list. It's a quadruped, meaning it walks on 4 limbs, and its body is adorned with overlapping layered dermal armored plates which protrude outwards and serve a dual purpose, not only as a moderate form of protection against attacks, but also to keep the animal insulated when in frigid temperatures. These scaly plates cover the entirety of the creature's body, from head to tail, and the spaces within the armor are covered by thick tufts of dark blue fur. The creature's feet are equipped with large mole-like claws, which is great for tunneling through ice. Sensory tendrils emanate from its snout, ending in vibrant blue bioluminescent globules. These likely allow the creature to navigate its environment, especially considering much of its time is spent underground. This is very similar to star-nosed moles, which I touched on in a previous video. Go check that out, it's somewhere on my channel, and it definitely gets into a little more detail as to the composition of this creature. Its jaws are equipped with an array of jagged fangs, and its eyes are positioned far back on its head, mostly concealed behind the aforementioned protective armor. And this further lends support to the theory that rather than using eyesight as a primary means of navigation, those tendrils are what allowed this creature to navigate its environment. A special ability of this creature is that it's able to drain heat from its surroundings, effectively freezing victims who aren't able to escape in time. However, this ability does seem extremely limited, and doesn't warrant enough clout, in my opinion, to propel this creature into a higher tier. We also have Mutos, aka Titanus Muto. This is an acronym for Massive Unidentified Terrestrial Organism, and they're essentially prehistoric parasites that thrived at the same time as the Godzilla species. They survived by attacking and killing Godzillas, laying spores in their radioactive carcasses. This is similar to what the tarantula wasp does. It paralyzes the tarantula, and once the tarantula is paralyzed, the wasp proceeds to lay its eggs in the still alive body of the tarantula. When those eggs hatch into larvae, the larvae will feed, which to me is a horrible way to die. Imagine dying with a parasite eating you from the inside. That's definitely up there, one of the worst ways to die. That's what the Muto used to do to the Godzillas, albeit without keeping the Godzilla alive, which is slightly better, I guess. I digress. Its design is inspired by arthropods, such as beetles and spiders, and a key feature of these types of creatures is their exoskeleton, which is essentially their skeleton, but on the outside of their body. Speaking of their bodies, Muto bodies are predominantly gray and black, with the male also sporting light markings. It has a long and triangular head with a flattened top, and triangular jaws with rows of sharp teeth. To improve its ability to consume large prey, the mandibles in its lower jaw are capable of separating slightly, somewhat similar to certain species of snakes, such as pythons. Other notable characteristics include long sharp claws, red eyes, and 2 hind limbs. The female Muto has 2 pairs of forelimbs, and another smaller pair on its chest, almost like arm titties. The smaller male Muto is similar in build, except one of its forelimb pairs are modified into wings. What this means is that the male Muto can fly. This ability is especially useful as it's the male Muto's responsibility to actively seek out radiation and bring this radioactive food source as a token of courtship to the female Muto. It's like how I might bring flowers to my girl, or chocolate. Never chocolate, my girl hates chocolate, note to self. Upon reproduction, the eggs will feed on this radiation, eventually hatching into Mutos themselves. Mutos often use echolocation as their primary means of communication, but may also vocalize and use visual cues. This is akin to many animals in nature. Ourselves included, we don't just use one sense to communicate with each other. We might talk. We might look for visual cues, body language, drop a text, obviously the Muto's not texting nobody, but that's the idea. Now, after centuries of evolving alongside Godzilla's in this parasitic, predatory type relationship, Mutos have actually developed special abilities to improve their chances when hunting. The male Muto is able to unleash electromagnetic pulses from its claws. For humans, what this means is that electronics in a 5-mile radius get disabled, but against Godzilla's, they would be used more like a stun gun. On the other hand, the female Muto is able to surround herself with an EMP field, and there doesn't appear to be any limit as to how often Mutos are able to use their electromagnetic abilities. If you're wondering why EMPs specifically, looking at their relationship with Godzilla's, it's very likely that this was developed specifically as a response to Godzilla's atomic breath. Okay, real quick, there's something I gotta tell y'all. You see that thumbs up button right below the video? It's been talking bear smack. You gonna tolerate this level of disrespect? Nah. Go hit the like. Matter of fact, go hit the subscribe too while you at it. Show them all what's good. Nah, but for real, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I enjoy making this top content, and your support is what allows this channel to grow. Rodan, aka Titanus Rodan, was born in a Mexican volcano and is known as the fire demon in local legend. It's a giant red pterosaur-like creature with a large beak, 2 horns protruding from the back of its head, and huge wings, each measuring in at 265 meters, with molten rock trailing off their edges. The wings end in 2 fingers and a thumb-like appendage, which doesn't seem to serve any functional purpose, and is likely vestigial in nature. Rodan is said to be 154 feet tall and weighing 39,000 tons. It walks like a pterosaur as well, using its wings as front limbs, almost like a bat would do. Rows of spikes adorn its chest, and it has a large flat tail to assist with aerial maneuverability. It's a powerful aerial combatant, highly agile and capable of flying at supersonic speeds. When flying at top speed, Rodan's wings generate cyclonic drift streams, which can level entire cities. Its main weapons are its serrated beak and talons, which resemble that of a bird of prey, like an eagle or hawk, and is evident through its vestigial claw and spiked ankle. Having been born in a volcano, Rodan has an extreme tolerance to heat, and in fact, an internal combustion system of magma flows through his entire body. And on the outside, a layer of volcanic rock acts as armor plating for its wings and torso, giving it additional protection when in combat. The Mokele-Mbembe, aka Titanus Mokele-Mbembe, was a massive, 4-legged creature resembling a cross between an elephant, rhinoceros, and crocodile. It had a muscular tail which could slap at opponents and help maximize balance, especially when combined with its thick legs. This sturdy build means that to knock this creature over would require an immense amount of power. The Mokele-Mbembe also has a curved horn on its head, pulsing with a faint green light. This indicates that the horn was multifunctional, as it would not have only been used as a weapon, but also potentially to communicate via the bioluminescence. Its head looked like an earless elephant, with the tusks turned downwards rather than up, and these tusks could cause significant amounts of damage if they were to slash or to impale an opponent. Its mouth was filled with numerous sharp teeth, similar in design to a crocodile, and its back was also covered in crocodilian-like armor. This would have been useful for defensive purposes, as crocodilian skin can be extremely difficult to penetrate. Finally, this creature also comes equipped with a prehensile trunk attached to its face, and this trunk is extremely dexterous, meaning it has the ability to move and manipulate objects within its environment. Similar to how thumbs have allowed humans to gain control over their surroundings, the Mokele-Mbembe trunk gives this titan a slight advantage over those stuck in a static environment. Fun fact, this titan likely got its inspiration from the actual Mokele-Mbembe cryptid, which is believed to exist in the Congo River basin. Methuselah, aka Titanus Methuselah, was a large animal-plant-rock hybrid, which might sound crazy to think about, but it helps when you just view it as a particular family or branch of organisms. We have plants, we have animals, but then all of a sudden you have something in between that's kind of a mix of both called fungi. And maybe Methuselah is like a titan version of a fungi, which probably not, but that would be really interesting to think about. Anyway, Methuselah is a quadruped, meaning it walks on 4 limbs, and it has a forest growing on its rocky, mountainous back. This, similar to Behemoth, was likely due to centuries of dormancy. The lack of movement allowed the vegetation and plant matter to conquer this new surface that's not moving. This allows for excellent camouflage, so it's able to actually stay still within the terrain, and other creatures may not even notice it. It has white eyes with no pupils, and this lack of pupils actually may indicate a lack of vision. The creature may not be blind per se, but the fact it has no pupils really does indicate that perhaps vision is not its primary sense that it uses to navigate the world. You see this often with creatures that grow up in darkness. They don't actually have eyes that function well, and oftentimes a lack of pupil is an indicator of such. It has a mouth full of huge, razor-sharp fangs, and this indicates that it's likely a carnivore. It probably feeds on other organisms to gain the sustenance it needs to live, and these carnivorous characteristics often show themselves through the teeth and claws of predatory animals. Enormous horns twist inwards, growing down from the top of its head, and this is very similar to the Babirusa pig. They have these tusks, and these tusks continuously grow throughout the pig's lifetime. If, for whatever reason, the tusks are not worn down through use, whether it be through fighting or through foraging, if the tusks are just allowed to continuously grow, they will actually grow and penetrate through the skull of the pig. So the pig will die because its tusks impaled its own head. Anyway, these horns for the Methuselah could likely be used to either ram opponents or impale victims, depending on the size of the creature it's facing. It has clawed forelimbs and hooved hind limbs, along with a serpentine tail. This packages together into a very sturdy build. This creature is not getting knocked over anytime soon. And finally, it's very strongly armored, almost similar to an ankylosaurus. And this indicates that it's able to withstand a heavy barrage of attacks. Overall, I would give Methuselah a very high rating when it comes to defensive ability, but not that great when it comes to offense. No evident weaknesses, other than perhaps its lack of vision, but I believe that its defensive capabilities and armor make up for this, therefore locking it in pretty solidly as B tier. This next one's a little unique, so bear with me as I try to explain. Shinomura, aka Titanus Shinomura, is a radioactive parasitic colony capable of taking on two distinct forms. Its main form is a massive winged insect-like creature with segmented blue armor and black membranous wings. It has a total of 6 glowing white eyes, 3 on each side of its head, and its body is long and serpentine, almost like a dragonfly, ending in a sharp, scorpion-like prehensile stinger. Its mouth parts are comprised of sharp plates and supported by strong exomandibles. At times, a bright white light is seen shining from inside its mouth, and this may be used as a form of communication. Upon reaching larger sizes, 2 long tendrils ending in sharp barbs grow from underneath the creature and can be used to assist with close and mid-ranged combat. Now, Shinomura's other form is that of the creature's individual cells. Essentially, it has the ability to separate into many smaller beings. These cells resemble black and blue starfish, and this ability as a whole not only can allow for a quick escape when overpowered, but may also be useful in times when resources are scarce, as a smaller body often requires less energy to maintain. And if this was a tier list as to who would survive best just left in different environmental conditions, Shinomura may have done better. In fact, it likely would have. But this tier list also includes potential combat against other titans, and for a significant amount of matchups, I strongly believe Shinomura is getting crushed like the bug it is. First up, representing A tier, we have Amhuluk, aka Titanus Amhuluk. It's a bulky, semi-humanoid-like creature with 4 legs and tree root-like feet. It possesses toxic emitters that pollute the channels and rivers it roams through. But more importantly, while it appears to have a body, in reality, it's just a head attached to a spinal column. The rest of his body is actually a telekinetically assembled mass of plants, including old vegetation, logs, branches, and moss. That means it's a camouflage specialist, capable of disguising itself as naturally occurring structures and flora. It also means that it does not feel pain from any attacks on its body. The only negative is that depending on what materials its body is currently made out of, it may be susceptible to being set aflame. However, given it primarily lives in watery conditions, escaping fire usually isn't too difficult. Blue-covered tendrils cover its body, and large dead trees usually are found protruding out its back. Its dark blue, fish-like face has 2 large yellow glowing eyes, surrounded by 8 smaller eyes similar to some species of spider and may be indicative of heightened vision. Its teeth are long and sharp, pointing straight down like those of the Goliath tigerfish, and its tongue is narrow, tipped with a deadly stinger. It's known to emit a blue glow from inside its throat, possibly used as a form of communication at night. And 2 sets of backward-facing squid-like tentacles protrude from its head. More on that later. Amhuluk comes equipped with a variety of special abilities, including being able to manipulate plant life and stretching its arms out like Mrs. Incredible, several times their original length. It can also throw parts of its body at high speeds towards opponents, using its previously mentioned telekinesis, and this is achieved through 6 biotelekinetic neurotransmitters, though these are somewhat vulnerable to certain alpha frequencies. Amhuluk's strongest ability, by far, is being able to latch onto opponents using the tip of its tentacles and sending a powerful psychic blast into its enemy's brain. However, this does need to be used sparingly, as it requires a substantial amount of energy. And now, we get to everybody's favorite monkey, King Kong, aka Titanus Kong. They're huge, gorilla-like ape titans who reigned over the territory of Hollow Earth and Skull Island. It stands upright like a human, with incredibly long, powerful arms held at their sides, and light brown fur which covers the majority of its body. Its skin is a dark gray color, and today's modern day specimen is known to have large scars running down its chest, likely from an encounter with another titan. Similar to most other apes, it has a flat nose with rounded nostrils and large canine teeth in its mouth. Though not normally known to be aggressive towards humans, they will attack if provoked, and possess immense physical strength, able to lift and carry extremely heavy objects with relative ease. The Titan is extremely agile and is capable of leaping to great heights and across great distances. As an ape, Kong is significantly smarter than other Titans, and it's this very intelligence which allows him to sit aloft in this tier. By being able to make use of tools and weapons, Kong's rise to the top is eerily similar to that of cavemen and modern day humans. MOTHRA, aka Titanus Mosura, is a giant moth with a segmented, insect-like adult body, having 6 legs and 2 large wings. Each wing is about 250 meters, in comparison to its 180-meter body, giving MOTHRA the ability of flight, despite weighing 2,000 tons. These wings emit concentrated beams of beta wave bioluminescence and glow with a series of brilliant colors, which is used to communicate rather than as a weapon. 2 large white antennae typically lay flat against the top of its head, and its body is covered in white and brown hair with blue slanted eyes, adept at sensing motion. It has 2 long hind legs with 2 joints and 2 clawed toes, alongside 4 forelimbs, 2 on each side of its body, with 1 pair being larger than the other. Its forelimbs end in large hooked claws, though its primary weapon is a wasp-like stinger found at the base of its abdomen. MOTHRA also has the defensive ability to spit silk, but the craziest thing is that MOTHRA doesn't always look like this. It first hatches as a larva, maintaining the appearance of a giant segmented caterpillar, with the segments being round in shape and the head very small in comparison to the rest of its body. This larval form is able to sense thermal radiation and emits a variety of colors in order to display emotion. Orange lights represent feelings of alarm, red symbolizes rage, and blue indicates a state of calm. So you may be wondering, what exactly makes this creature A tier? The truth is, due to its ability to asexually lay an egg, MOTHRA is effectively immortal. This egg hatches into MOTHRA's larval form, while genetically inheriting all past memories. We also have Kika, aka Titanus Kika. It's an 898-foot-long octopus-like titan, dense, with a curved cone-shaped shell, and the ability to change its color and skin pattern at will, similar to how octopus and cuttlefish do. In a neutral state, most of its body is blue, with the top sides of its tentacles being a shade of pink, and this may indicate the presence of certain toxins, though no conclusive evidence has yet to be found. The creature comes equipped with light blue eyes, which are extremely adept at underwater vision, even in murky conditions, and it has a maroon fin, which hangs off the top of its back. Kika's tentacles are extremely dexterous and can either individually attack or work together in cohesion to trap an opponent. The tentacles have suction cups covered in viscous adhesive, and that allows the creature to crawl onto land or even drain the energy of opposing titans caught in its grasp. Just like an octopus, it has multiple brains and hearts in its body and limbs, and could likely regenerate any part of its body. Again, just like its octopus comparison, Kika was known for being extremely intelligent and could likely strategize when facing off against enemies. Tiamat, aka Titanus Tiamat, was a colossal sea serpent with a dark purple body lined with numerous bioluminescent fins and sharp plates. It had multiple sets of barbels hanging from its beaked head, and bright yellow eyes to allow it to see well, even within the ocean depths. It's been known to constrict its body around victims, like an anaconda or python, allowing it to easily drag opponents through the water at high speeds. Its sharp scales even act as sandpaper against flesh when performing this attack. Tiamat can expel a yellow phosphorus ink from its mouth, referred to as toxic breath, which can easily blind opponents. This is similar to a spitting cobra, and it's able to do this via chemoreceptors located in its venom hood. It also possesses electrogenic cells, capable of collecting and releasing electric currents. These currents are so strong that it can cause the ocean to boil and create electrical superstorms. This is on top of its ability to already create waterspouts, which are tornadoes over aquatic conditions. As a type of psychological strategy, Tiamat can utilize vocal folds in her tendrils to mimic the sounds of other creatures. This indicates a high level of intelligence, and really, the only downside to Tiamat is that it does not fare well on land. Now finally, we're at the pinnacle, at S tier, and here we have King Ghidorah, aka Titanus Ghidorah. It's a three-headed giant bipedal dragon with long serpentine necks, 2 tails, and 2 enormous wings. It stands upright on 2 hind legs and has a muscular chest, likely developed to support its 3 necks. It has wings similar to a bat and also shows a willingness to walk on its wings, like bats do. Ghidorah is covered in overlapping golden scales, and each of its head has 10 horns, 5 on each side. It has defined arms that extend into its wings, with sharp claws at the end of each fold, and its wing muscles are described as being incredibly hypertensile. Think elastic band. It's known to spread its wings as a threat display, similar to how a cobra opens its hood. And in fact, there are many similarities to snakes, including that it flicks its tongue out in order to sense its environment. Ghidorah also uses its jaws like an anaconda or python, biting and grappling opponents, and sometimes even constricting an enemy, using its necks and tails. Its tails have retractable spikes at the end of them, which could be used as a weapon, but more likely was simply threat display. The Titan is often described as bioelectrical, and it's theorized that its scales are gilded with trace amounts of aurum, which acts as a conductor. This allows Ghidorah to carry supercharged bioelectrical currents throughout its body, and it's able to project this electricity in a multitude of ways. Its signature attack is spitting bioelectrical golden gravity beams, and the underside of its necks are known to glow yellow while charging up. It can also project lightning from the tips of its wings, and these wings actually allow the creature to generate hurricane force winds, and combined with its electrical biology, this often creates a severe localized storm. The water vapor itself in the air gets superheated, creating a Category 6 hurricane. Ghidorah is known to be openly hostile towards creatures far too small to injure it, and this may unsurprisingly indicate heightened cognition. In fact, studies have shown divergent frontal lobe density in the brains of all 3 heads, and this indicates that each of its heads actually has its own distinct level of cognitive function. Each of Ghidorah's heads communicate telepathically with each other, and all 3 heads have unique personalities, making the creature more akin to conjoined triplets rather than a single individual with 3 heads. The right head, known as Ni, is the most irritable and competitive of the 3, while the left head, affectionately known as Kevin, appears to be the most docile and curious. The center head, named Ichi, is the most intelligent and appears to dominate the other 2 into doing its bidding. When one of its heads are damaged or severed, a new one grows in its place, and because most of Ghidorah's neurons are scattered throughout its body and limbs, similar to an octopus, the newly regenerated head retains the memories and personality of the old one. Overall? Nah, there's no overall. King Ghidorah is here to stay, just cut the last part out, we good. And finally, obviously making his way into S tier, we have Godzilla, aka Titanus Gojira. It's an ancient apex predator whose species previously thrived during the Permian period when Earth's radiation levels were much higher. The current day specimen that we all know and love was awakened from its hibernation due to the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, and to this day, no other extant individuals have been found. Godzilla possesses amphibious lungs, allowing it to breathe both underwater and on land, although the gills on the side of its neck are vulnerable to attack. However, the rest of the creature is covered in thick, crocodilian-like armored skin, known to be able to withstand an onslaught of attacks. It's darkly covered to camouflage well within the ocean depths, and when walking upright on land, it uses its lengthy tail to provide insane levels of balance. This tail is also used to propel the creature underwater, where it's been known to reach up to 90 kilometers per hour. Godzillas are extremely territorial with most other titans, with a roar capable of being heard up to 3 miles away and reaching a maximum volume of 174 decibels. It makes great use of its immense strength, tail, and combat skills when fighting, and possesses a multitude of special abilities that firmly cement it in this prestigious tier. Similar to most other titans, Godzillas feed on radiation and are able to absorb said radiation in many ways. The difference is, Godzillas are also able to expel the radiation, effectively turning itself into a multi-purpose weapon. It's able to draw energy from its bionuclear circulatory system and focus this energy to be expelled through its mouth in a process known as atomic breath. It's also able to manifest a neutron flux within its body, which manifests as a blue glow. And this glow slowly moves from the tip of its tail up the protective dorsal fins, which serve as energy reserves for atomic power. Once the energy finally reaches the nucleosynthetic glands in Godzilla's throat, it explodes into a concentrated burst of atomic energy, easily capable of leveling entire cities. Godzilla also has the ability to fire nuclear pulses, and does this by venting off the accumulating nuclear energy coming from its dorsal fins into a massive one-time blast. All this given, it's clear to see Godzilla is known as the king of the monsters for a reason. And that's our list. I hope y'all enjoyed, and wait, what's that? They found a new Titan? Hey y'all, I might need your help. Where did the new one go? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, keep staying nerdy. I'll see y'all in the next one.